Wow, that's such a cool idea to build. Why didn't I figure it out myself? Let me show you a guide on how to build volcano.
Round 1.
For this volcano tutorial, I'm keeping the design simple so it can be built almost anywhere without using rare materials. I start by using dirt blocks to create the entire mountain. Dirt is one of the easiest resources to collect in Minecraft, which makes this project great for beginners who have only recently started a survival world. Instead of making the volcano extremely tall, I build it as a medium-sized hill with sloping sides. A volcano usually looks more natural when the base is wider than the top, because real volcanic mountains are formed by many layers of cooled lava and ash that gradually spread outward over time. I'm also trying to avoid perfectly straight walls, since natural landforms almost never grow in perfect geometric shapes. Even small bumps and uneven edges help the volcano blend into the landscape much better than a perfectly smooth pyramid would. After finishing the basic shape, I spend a little time adjusting the slopes so they connect smoothly from the ground to the summit. The overall outline is actually one of the most important parts of any mountain build. If the silhouette looks convincing, players will immediately recognize what it is supposed to represent even before any decorations are added. Real volcanoes come in many different forms. Some are steep and narrow, while others are broad and gently sloped because different types of lava behave differently during eruptions. Building slightly uneven sides also makes the volcano appear older, as if wind and rain have slowly changed its shape over many years. Simple terrain builds often become much more realistic by avoiding perfect symmetry and introducing small natural imperfections. To finish the tutorial, I pour lava into the crater at the top of the volcano. Instead of keeping all the lava inside, I leave a small opening so part of it can slowly flow down one side of the mountain. That little stream makes the volcano look much more active. Flowing lava immediately catches the eye because bright colors naturally stand out against darker terrain. In real life, lava follows the easiest path downhill due to gravity, which is why volcanic eruptions often create long rivers of molten rock. Minecraft uses a simplified version of the same idea, allowing lava to spread outward from its source. Even though this volcano is very easy to build, the flowing lava transforms a simple dirt hill into a recognizable natural landmark that players can recreate in just a few minutes. Phew, it took so much effort. Great, my volcano is ready.
Oh, wow!
Joo-hoo! We're going to build volcano today! I love building things. Mikey has probably already built his volcano. Mikey, is that all you've built in that time? Is this really a volcano?
JJ, you only know how to offend me. By the way, I tried very hard.
Mikey, it's just a pile of dirt, not a volcano. It can only be recognized because of the flowing lava.
Oh, that's it. Stop judging. Maybe then you can show me how to build volcano?
Of course, we ran to the place.
JJ, I'm not sure you're going to make it. But in any case, good luck to you. I'll wait for you at the house.
Thanks, then I'll start. Round 2. For this volcano tutorial, I want to build something on a truly massive scale. So I begin by using commands instead of placing every block by hand. The very first step is creating the stone foundation. Stone is the perfect material because real volcanoes are formed from enormous amounts of cooled magma that eventually harden into solid rock. Rather than using dirt or decorative blocks, I establish a strong, rocky base that immediately gives the mountain a realistic appearance. Large terrain projects usually begin with the overall landform instead of the small details because the silhouette determines how convincing the finished mountain will look from a distance. Instead of shaping the volcano manually, I start generating enormous circles around my position using commands. Each new circle is slightly smaller than the previous one, gradually stacking upward to create the mountain. This technique is surprisingly similar to how digital artists and landscape designers often build large terrain models. They begin with broad shapes before refining the smaller features. By controlling the radius of every layer, I can decide exactly how steep or gentle the slopes of the volcano will become. The process is also dramatically faster than placing thousands of individual blocks one by one. As the circles continue shrinking, the volcano naturally begins taking on its classic conical shape. One interesting fact about many real volcanoes is that they are formed over thousands of eruptions. Every eruption deposits another layer of lava, ash, and volcanic rock, slowly increasing the mountain's height while gradually reducing the width near the summit. My circular building method recreates a simplified version of that natural process. Each new ring represents another layer added to the mountain, allowing the overall profile to remain smooth and consistent instead of becoming jagged or uneven. The structure continues growing higher with every generated layer, and the mountain quickly becomes enormous. One major advantage of commands is precision. Since every circle follows the same center point, the volcano remains perfectly symmetrical throughout construction. Symmetry is not always found in nature, but it provides an excellent starting point for Minecraft builds because later details can introduce natural imperfections. Professional terrain builders often begin with clean geometry before adding erosion, cliffs, cracks, and other irregular features that make landscapes feel alive. Building the primary shape first also makes every future decoration much easier to position. Looking at the growing mountain, it is interesting to compare this building technique with the way volcanoes are formed in nature. Real volcanoes obviously do not appear overnight. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, extremely hot molten rock called magma slowly rises because it is less dense than the surrounding solid rock. Over time, pressure builds inside underground chambers. When that pressure becomes too great, magma finds weak points in the Earth's crust and forces its way upward. Every eruption brings new material to the surface, gradually making the mountain taller. A volcano is actually built by countless eruptions occurring over hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years. If I were building this volcano without commands, I would probably follow a very similar principle. Instead of generating huge circular layers instantly, I would place one ring of stone at a time, making every new layer slightly smaller than the one below it. Although this approach takes much longer, it gives complete control over the mountain's proportions. Many experienced Minecraft terraforming builders still prefer working manually because they can constantly adjust the slopes, add subtle curves, and create natural imperfections as the build grows. Commands simply speed up the repetitive part of that process while preserving the same overall construction logic. Another important feature of real volcanoes is that they are rarely perfectly smooth. Wind, rain, earthquakes, and previous lava flows constantly reshape the mountain over time. Large chunks of rock can collapse, rivers carve valleys into the slopes, and cooled lava creates rough surfaces with different textures. Later in the build, I will intentionally introduce details that make the volcano appear older and more realistic. Starting with a clean geometric shape actually makes those natural-looking modifications easier because every decorative feature has a solid foundation underneath it. One useful lesson for any builder is to think about projects in stages instead of trying to perfect every block immediately. Whether constructing a volcano, a mountain, or even a modern house, professional builders usually begin with the largest shapes before moving to medium details, and finally, the smallest decorations. This workflow keeps the proportions consistent throughout the entire project and prevents mistakes that would be much harder to fix later. Even though commands allow me to create this enormous volcano in just a few moments, the same building philosophy can be applied to projects of any size, including ones built completely by hand. After generating enough circular layers, the foundation of the volcano is finally complete. From a distance, the mountain already dominates the surrounding landscape, even though almost none of the surface details have been added yet. This demonstrates an important lesson in large-scale building. The overall silhouette is usually more important than individual blocks. If the shape is convincing, viewers will immediately recognize what the structure represents long before they notice smaller textures or decorations. With the massive stone framework now finished, I have the perfect canvas for transforming this simple mountain into a realistic and powerful volcano in the next stages of the build. After generating the mountain with commands, I immediately notice one unavoidable problem. Since the volcano was created from hundreds of separate circular layers, tiny openings remain between many of them. My next objective is to close every one of those gaps using ordinary stone. At first glance, this may seem like a repetitive job, but experienced builders know that cleanup is often just as important as construction itself. Large projects usually look impressive from a distance. Yet, the real difference between a beginner build and a professional one becomes obvious when someone walks right up to it. Small holes allow sunlight to shine through places where solid rock should exist, instantly breaking the illusion that this is a real mountain. Spending extra time refining the structure may not be the fastest part of the tutorial, but it is definitely one of the most valuable habits any builder can develop. As I move around the volcano filling the empty spaces, I constantly compare this process to real geological formations. Volcanoes are not hollow shells stacked on top of each other. Every eruption throws enormous amounts of lava, volcanic ash, rocks, and gases into the surrounding area. Once the lava cools, it forms another solid layer of rock. This process repeats again and again over thousands of years. Some famous volcanoes have experienced hundreds of eruptions throughout their lifetime, with every eruption slightly changing their overall shape. In a way, every stone block I place here represents another layer that nature would have added during countless volcanic events. Minecraft obviously simplifies the process, but the basic idea remains surprisingly similar. While repairing the mountain, I avoid making every surface perfectly smooth. That may sound strange because many beginner builders think smooth automatically means realistic. Nature actually works very differently. Rainwater slowly cuts channels into volcanic slopes, pieces of rock collapse under their own weight, earthquakes shift entire sections of the mountain, and old lava flows harden into rough ridges that remain visible for centuries. If every side of the volcano looked identical, it would resemble a giant traffic cone instead of a natural landform. Small irregularities are what convince our brains that something has existed in the world for a very long time. Sometimes adding imperfections actually makes a build feel much more realistic than trying to make everything flawless. Another interesting thing about terrain building is that professional Minecraft builders rarely finish a mountain in one attempt. Most of them constantly fly away from the project to inspect it from different distances before returning to continue working. A slope that appears perfectly smooth while standing next to it may suddenly reveal awkward bumps when viewed from 100 blocks away. This is very similar to sculptors who repeatedly walk around their sculptures while working. They understand that every angle tells a different story. I keep doing exactly the same thing here, checking the volcano from multiple viewpoints before filling the next series of gaps. As more openings disappear, the mountain gradually begins feeling much heavier and more believable. Even though Minecraft stone is not affected by gravity, players instinctively expect a volcano to look incredibly massive. One fascinating fact is that some real volcanoes contain enough rock to weigh trillions of tons. Their enormous mass actually presses down on the Earth's crust beneath them. That is difficult to imagine, but it explains why volcanoes dominate entire landscapes instead of looking like ordinary hills. By removing the hollow sections inside my build, I create the same visual impression of overwhelming weight and solidity, even though the game itself never calculates those physical forces. This stage also prepares the volcano for everything that will happen later. Lava rivers, cracked cliffs, caves, volcanic vents, smoke effects, and scorched terrain all depend on having a reliable surface underneath them. Decorating a mountain before fixing its foundation usually creates more work because details often have to be rebuilt later. Construction follows the same philosophy in real life. Engineers always ensure that the structure itself is complete before adding decorative elements. It may not be the most exciting step for spectators, but skipping it almost always leads to problems in the final result. After sealing the final opening, I take a step back to compare the mountain with the version created immediately after the commands finished running. The difference is much greater than many people would expect. What originally looked like hundreds of stacked circles now resembles one enormous volcanic mountain shaped by thousands of years of natural activity. This is probably one of the biggest lessons in large-scale Minecraft building. Commands can save countless hours by creating the initial shape, but they're only the beginning of the project. The realism comes afterward, through careful observation, patience, and hundreds of small improvements that most viewers will never consciously notice. Yet, they will definitely feel the difference when looking at the finished volcano. With the body of the volcano finally complete, I can begin working on the feature that defines every volcano, the crater. Instead of simply placing a pool of lava on top, I spend time reshaping the summit by adding more stone around the opening. The crater needs to feel like it was carved by countless eruptions rather than punched into the mountain with a single explosion. Real volcanic craters vary enormously in size. Some measure only a few meters across, while others are several kilometers wide. Their shape depends on the amount of pressure released during eruptions and how much rock collapses back into the opening afterward. By carefully building the rim before introducing any lava, I create a crater that feels much more believable and naturally integrated into the mountain. Once the crater has the right proportions, I finally pour lava into the opening. Bright orange immediately transforms the entire build. One of the reasons lava attracts so much attention is its incredible contrast with the dark stone surrounding it. Our eyes naturally focus on warm colors first, which is why glowing lava instantly becomes the centerpiece of the volcano. In real life, lava is not simply liquid rock sitting on the surface. It begins its journey as magma deep beneath the Earth's crust. Only after reaching the surface does it receive the name lava. That small scientific distinction is surprisingly interesting, and it explains why geologists always use different terms depending on where the molten rock is located. Rather than sealing the lava completely inside the crater, I intentionally leave part of the rim open. This allows the lava to escape naturally and begin flowing down the side of the volcano. Gravity determines the direction of every lava flow, both in Minecraft and in reality. Molten rock always searches for the easiest path downhill, following cracks and valleys until it cools into solid stone. Many famous volcanoes are recognizable because of these frozen lava rivers that remain visible for centuries after an eruption has ended. Allowing the lava to spill over the edge instantly makes the volcano appear active instead of dormant. As the lava begins flowing down the mountain, I also leave an empty channel inside the volcano where the stream can continue its journey. This hidden space represents the internal pathway that magma would travel before reaching the surface. Real volcanoes contain complex underground systems of chambers and narrow conduits that transport molten rock upward under enormous pressure. Those underground passages are constantly changing as old routes become blocked and new ones form during later eruptions. Although Minecraft cannot simulate those geological processes, creating a believable path for the lava makes the mountain feel much more realistic than simply letting the liquid stop halfway down the slope. Now, I want to make the eruption look even more dramatic. Around the crater, I begin placing additional lava blocks that shoot outward in different directions, creating the impression that molten rock has been blasted into the air. This effect represents volcanic ejecta, which includes lava fragments, glowing rocks, volcanic bombs, and ash launched high above the crater during explosive eruptions. Some real eruptions can throw pieces of molten rock hundreds of meters into the sky before gravity pulls them back down the mountainside. Even though these lava splashes remain frozen in time inside Minecraft, they successfully capture the energy of an eruption at its most powerful moment. The next step is adding heat damage around the summit. Using commands, I replace many of the ordinary stone blocks surrounding the crater with magma blocks. This simple transformation changes the entire atmosphere of the volcano. Magma blocks have a glowing texture that suggests the surrounding rock has been heated to extreme temperatures. One fascinating geological fact is that the ground near active volcanoes often becomes hot enough to release steam and volcanic gases through small cracks in the surface. In some locations, temperatures remain dangerously high even when no eruption is taking place. The magma blocks recreate that impression by making the area around the crater appear dangerously hot without covering every surface in lava. Although commands complete most of this work, I still place several magma blocks by hand. This allows me to control exactly where the hottest areas should appear. Nature almost never distributes heat evenly. Some sections of a volcano cool relatively quickly, while others remain extremely hot, because fresh magma continues moving beneath them. Manually adjusting the terrain creates a much more convincing transition between ordinary rock and the intensely heated summit. These small artistic decisions often have a greater impact on realism than simply replacing every nearby block with the same material. For the final touch, I replace the magma blocks closest to the crater with actual lava blocks. The transition from solid stone to glowing magma, and finally to exposed lava, creates a realistic temperature gradient that makes the summit feel alive. Looking at the finished volcano, it is hard to believe that the project began as nothing more than a series of simple stone circles generated with commands. After refining the terrain, shaping the crater, creating flowing lava, building explosive splashes, and carefully simulating the effects of extreme heat, the mountain now tells a complete story of volcanic activity. One of the most rewarding aspects of large-scale Minecraft building is watching a simple geometric shape gradually evolve into something that feels like it could genuinely exist in the natural world. I hope this tutorial also shows that realism is often created not by one spectacular feature, but by hundreds of thoughtful details working together. Great! My volcano is ready! It's time for me to show it to the guys.
Wow, JJ, you've got such a big and beautiful volcano. I really like your attention to detail.
Thank you, Mikey. I am very glad that you liked my building. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right.
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.